Hello, Internet. We are live.
Hello, Internet.
Hey, good evening, folks. It's that time of week once again. I'm Jason Bowman. I'm
Tuesday with
joined by some of my
teammates.
APA teammates for what has become, I think all of us think, one of our favorite times of the week now, and that's our Tuesday with Teammates segment. So welcome. We're happy you've decided to join us. We hope you enjoy hanging out with our team tonight. But as we've mentioned the last couple of weeks on this program, our real goal here is to encourage you guys and your teammates to replicate this get-together using some of the free apps that are out there like Zoom or Google Hangouts. So after you're done watching us tonight, reach out to your teammates, plan a time for you guys to get together online, whether it's Tuesday or a different day of the week. We just want you guys to stay connected. We know that social distancing can mean social isolation for some people. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we're staying in contact with our teammates. That's important right now. And so with all that said, let's get this party started. What's up, guys? How is everybody?
So far, so good. Getting through it.
We got Steve, the man on the controls.
Hello.
We got Bex. We got Mr. Mark Lancaster with the Canadian flags and the little American flag. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. We got Jake the Snake, Murdoch, Loftus. We got Peggy and we got Tracy, and we're here to hang for the next hour and see what's up. And
hey, Kevin.
I think so. As I go back in and look at some of the comments each week from the show, guys, just real quick, a lot of folks are asking us about, what's up with League? When's League going to start? What's going on with the events? Unfortunately, at this point, we don't have a lot of answers. League is, our guess is as good as yours right now. I mean, that's probably going to be dictated by what happens with your local government, your local authorities, what they allow, things to happen. So with League, we don't know. As far as the events, we have been talking a lot about the events. We talk about them almost daily. And we are at this point still looking to try to find a way to at least postpone everything. So we've missed the pool player championships, or we will, because it's slated to start in about 10 days. But as of right now, that event is postponed. It's not canceled. Our hope is that we will be able to make that event up at some point. At this point, I don't know when that's going to be. A lot of folks asking about the World Championships. Again, that event's several months off, but I think we can all kind of see the writing on the wall and see what's happening with pro sports and what may or may not be allowed there. So we're talking about it right at this point, and I can tell you guys that we're going to do everything we possibly can to ensure that all of these events happen at some point. That might mean later in the year, but our plan is to not have to cancel anything and to be able to postpone, the pool player championships, the world championships, showdown series events, and those. And then I know some folks thinking about juniors. Still don't know about juniors. I don't want to speculate, but again, we all watch the news. I just don't know. I think it's maybe a long shot, but we'll see. Some things might be changing here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll remain hopeful. And as soon as we have information on leagues or on our events, you can bet that we're going to share that with you guys as soon as we can, because we're all missing. We were just talking about it before we started. I know, guys, next week we'd all be heading out to Vegas, which for most of us, we've been doing for the better part of 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to be weird. I've been thinking about the fact that, maybe I would just, because I don't even really know what day of the week it is anymore. The days are kind of lost on me. So I thought maybe it'll just pass and I won't realize it. But I'm going to realize it next week that I'm not heading to Vegas for the first time in 21 years. And I don't know. What do you guys think? It's going to be tough, I think.
I mean, super weird. I mean, right now I would be packing up tons of gear. I'd be testing streaming equipment. I'd be up to my elbows and all the fun stuff that I love about life. And I'm grateful to be here talking with you guys, but I mean, sure. I'd rather be neck deep in photo gear, getting ready to go to an awesome thing. And it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be the kids even, we kind of have scheduled breaks throughout our year, right? From life to, it's you go out there. It's not a vacation. Yeah. We work very hard, but it is like a pause on our normal life. And so this will be the first year. I know for me, my youngest son was 1. He doesn't know a life where I haven't left. And I know, Jason, your kids are the same. I mean, all of our families are the same. It's gonna be different for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be getting my hair did, my toes did, my spray tan
I'd be buying new shoes.
My lashes
doing a little clothes shopping. Yep.
All of that stuff, and I'm gonna tell you, my feet look like the Flintstones about right now. So
we can't see your feet, Tracy. You could have.
Well, that's good. That's real good. Sorry, honey.
I was telling Tracy the other day in one of our meetings that I'm really heartbroken about it. I always miss my kids, but I enjoy going out and visiting and seeing all the league operators, and then being there for PPC and watching the action there. So it's really hard. I'm struggling with it.
Yeah. I know we've got a lot of league operators tuning in. I've seen a lot of them talking about, how hard it's going to be to miss it this year, because again, that's a big part of what we do out there as well. Our league operators, we have a convention for them on the front end prior to the start of the pool player championships. And, there's a lot of education and networking, and there's like an awards banquet that means a lot to all of us, I think. And so it's going to be tough. We're not going to have that this year, but, we're finding new ways to stay in touch. Right. And that's kind of what this is all about. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about Vegas tonight on the show. But I just want to wish everybody a belated happy Easter. Did everybody? How was Easter for everybody? Like, I just pipe in. Like, what does Easter look like for you guys in the COVID era here? What did that look like? What did you guys do?
I stayed in my house.
Oh, you did?
Really?
No, that's not true. That's not true. I actually stood outside and looked at my neighbor and then went back into my house.
Changed it up a little bit to celebrate.
Right,
Okay.
right. And then I went and looked at my son, and he said, "What do you want, Dad? I'm playing games." So I closed his door, and then I went back into the living room. So
I noticed
other than that,
I noticed you put up flags. I mean,
that's right. I was putting up the flags.
What's the deal with the flags? Because this is the third week we've had Tuesday with Teammates, and you've added to your background decor in a very prominent way. So I'm curious what's going on there.
Right. I wanted to have something different every time. And Brad Jones says I should put my Eagles back up there, because Brad Jones is always calling himself Brad Two Eagles Jones, so. And I said, no, I want to put something else. I wanted to be a little bit more patriotic and stuff like that. So, and Jason was saying, why is the American one so much smaller than the Canadian? I said, well, that's the one I got when I became a citizen. So I wanted to make sure that I showed that one. So I wanted to make sure that I'm trying to do something different every time, because I have resorted to reading. When you have to resort to reading, there's a problem. You know what I mean? So I've actually starting to get to know more words, like we were talking beforehand. I mean, I never used to say shenanigans before. Now I say that, and brouhaha. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting smarter, and I don't like it.
What exactly are you reading there, Mark?
I am reading the Alan from 2.5 Men, his biography.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's not bad, but the thing is that I'm like that iceberg lettuce, where I've got that little tiny piece I used to use, and now I'm using the whole head of lettuce, and I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm becoming smarter, and I don't like it.
So, like Mark, you lost my attention like 30 seconds ago, because I feel like Peggy just went to the witness relocation program.
Yeah.
Are you hiding from her dog that was attacking you earlier?
Yeah, she was. There was something illegal going on with her dog, so
It looks like
I think
one
she
of those
turned the lights
interviews
off.
you hear on like a crime show where somebody doesn't reveal their identity.
The voice
Well, you
disguiser.
guys just have to remember that her favorite show was First 48, so she must have been doing something to do with that scene, with one of those scenes.
Hey,
Yeah,
Mark,
she wanted
guys,
to be a
real quick, I apologize. Jessica James from chat, I want to speak to you specifically.
Thank you, Steve, because I was reading that.
Yeah, I get where your heart's coming from. I understand. I really do that you want the updates. Actually, I think you tuned in a little late. We actually did. Jason did talk a little bit about some of the things that you might want to hear about. But I want to remind, the point of this is that APA is a community. And we're trying to create community by doing this, because a lot of us play pool. We love the game, but we go because we get to connect with friends and family and all that kind of stuff. So the point of what we're doing tonight is to kind of encourage and show other people another way that they themselves can check in on their teammates and create their own communities as well. I apologize if this isn't exactly what you wanted to see. You are welcome to change the channel, but if this is the point of what's going on.
Well, maybe
continue.
you addressing her will change her mind. Steve.
I
That's
hope
right.
so. And I
That's
want you to
pretty
be part of this
diplomatic.
community, and I want you to hang out with us. Join us later. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to have a good time. Grab a drink, chill out, relax, love life, because that's where we're at right now.
And how can you not love Steve's Black Widow jersey?
Yeah.
Tonight? I'm
You know what?
impressed.
That is a great segue, Jason, to talk about.
I
the
did
thing.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that was
did that?
clever. It is on the screen right now if you want to talk about it.
Oh, actually, I was
match.
just joking. Segue. But
Oh,
we
well,
do
I've got
have-
it up now.
Yeah, so what are we doing with Jeanette? Is that Friday night?
That is Friday night. We are
Maybe
doing-
that'll lift Jessica's spirits. Let's
I'm
show
hoping.
Yeah, we've got what? We got the Black Widow and Cody the Kid. They're going to play on Friday. We're doing it Friday night.
Yep,
So
Friday
again,
night.
you can tune in and watch the Black Widow, right?
Yep.
Hasn't played in months. She's going to play from her house against her stepson, Cody the Kid, who is, by the way, I think he's a skill level 9. He was our runner-up in our
he was second. He's
highest
really
tier
good.
of our junior championship. So, knock on wood, we're hoping Jeanette's going to feel good. I think they're planning to play a USAM race, so like a race
to 11,
combination 8-ball, 9-ball. So something to look forward to, Jessica, and the rest of you guys out there. Something to look forward to.
And I will say that that's not the only thing we're going to tell you about what's upcoming, but we're not going to tell you all at once. We're going to make you watch, and then we're going to tell you other stuff that we're going to do. So
no, but in all seriousness, I mean, we wish we could give you updates on league and the events. We just don't have them right now. But I can tell you, as far as the events, continuing to have conversations, but we're also watching the news. Like there's only so many things. We could have an agreement tomorrow with our partners at the Westgate in Las Vegas to do an event later this year. But if the government doesn't allow it, it's not going to make a difference. So, we're trying to plan strategically and do everything we can. And as soon as we have the details, we're going to let you guys know. We know you want the details. We want the details too. I mean, feel me from my heart.
We're just talking about how bad we want to go.
We miss Vegas and we're ready to get back out there. But, it's going to be a little while. I mean, this thing is still hot and heavy. And so anyway, we're trying to have some fun here. Easter, guys, somebody Mark's Easter sucked and was lame. Somebody give me a better Easter story than what Lancaster had, please.
Well,
I got sucked into Tiger King.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Did you get through all 7 episodes?
Not all in one day, but over the weekend I did.
Yeah, you think Carol did it?
It was a train wreck. But I couldn't look away, and I probably want to watch it again just to make sure I didn't miss any of the craziness.
I'm trying to bring Carol Baskin to Vegas if we can. I'm going to try to get that chick in Vegas, play the Black Widow or something crazy. Get a tiger in there or something. What do you think?
No. Yeah.
You guys are scared of Carol.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I think you should do it.
Maybe we can have her out for like a motivational speaker or something, or to open up the
convention,
like opening ceremony.
She's probably to be on First 48. How to get away with killing.
You know how many people would want a photo? Do you know how many people would want a photo with her though? I'd want a photo with her.
I think everybody would want a photo with her.
I'd have to get a photo op with her. I mean, she might have killed her husband. I don't know, but she's been on Netflix, so I want a photo with her. So, Peggy, back to your Easter. Sorry, I know you watched Tiger King. Sounds like it was very moving.
We grilled some ribs and
it's a good day.
FaceTimed with my kids and my family. So had a few drinks. That's about it.
Bex, what about you? You guys at home? What'd you do on the Easter with the kids?
Who?
Bex.
Well, we had ham and some potato salad, some of the things that we normally do with my parents, and we made a cake, we took a nap. They weren't really super exciting, but my kids are teenagers, so hiding Easter eggs kind of beyond them right now.
With my family, I have 3 kids. My wife took care of everything. She's amazing. We had baskets pre-ordered. We basically sat and gorged on chocolate and terrible food all day.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I've been corrected. Not all chocolate, all sour candy. And that was our Easter.
What about you, Murdoch? Drinking beer now. Something changed over Easter.
I switched up my drink from the previous couple of weeks. Didn't do too much. All of my family live in Virginia, so I called and talked to a couple of them, watched some TV. I watched one of the services that they put on TV. Then I actually I was very safe, but I went out for a drive. My truck had not been driven in quite some time, so got in my truck again. It's just me, so no spreading of any viruses, and just drove up to the country. Spent about 2 hours. Took my camera with me. It was kind of dreary, so not much to shoot at around there. But mostly, I just wanted to get out and kind of drive. I came back home and watched some more TV. So it was very uneventful. Typically, my Easters are somewhat uneventful with my family all living in Virginia, but
yeah.
So I'm right there with Mark a little bit with the uneventfulness.
I've heard a lot of people taking drives though. I've noticed that a lot. I'm talking to people and they're like, yeah, I took a drive, and that's something people used to do, right? I mean, people would like put their family in the car and they'd take Sunday drives.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if
It
that
was
was
a
like
thing.
the 50s or 60s or when that happened, but that used to be an actual thing. And there's a
Sunday
nice drive,
drive.
Murdoch, that River Road drive from like Alton down to Grafton. Beautiful drive if you want to
I
check
was
that out.
very close to there, and I don't know why I didn't think about doing that. Just
Yeah.
kind of going ahead and going across the river. I will say that yes, Sunday drives are nice. I did maintain the speed limit though, unlike
Yeah,
most
sure.
Sunday
Of course, you
drives.
say that live where it's recorded.
Yeah.
Yes, I maintained the speed
Sure,
limit.
buddy.
55
Just depends
miles
on
an
what
hour.
road.
I saw a thing that you guys have seen the movie Cannonball Run, right? Remember Cannonball Run, where they like start in New York and they drive to California? So that's a real thing, apparently. Like people actually do that each year, and somebody set a new record doing it because there's so little traffic.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So they
yeah.
set like an all-time Cannonball record. You can look it up. I promise. It was on the internet.
Yeah,
That's
Richard
cool.
from Grease Monkey won it one year.
What about you, Jake? You've been quiet, man. Did Easter Bunny get your tongue or what?
You're muted. You still muted.
Still
bro.
muted.
Sorry, I hit the space bar thinking it would work. No, I actually bit the inside of my mouth a little bit ago, and it really hurt, so I've not been talking because of that.
I'm sorry that happened, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
everyone
rough.
knows the feeling and then you start sticking your tongue on it, and you're like, God, I
Yeah.
gotta stop that. Then you just keep doing it again. You gotta stop. You just can't do it. No, I had a regular Easter. We just cooked. We went out hiking Saturday, tried to find some
I
morel
saw the picture.
mushrooms.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
some, right?
We found 3.
Yeah.
But
Where'd you
that's better
go?
than 0.
Where'd you go?
Here in Missouri.
I'm just kidding. I don't go look for the mushrooms, but I know it's a thing to like don't give away your mushroom location.
Yeah, but there's other people out there that no.
I get it. So what'd you have for Easter? Because you usually cook up some pretty good food. Do you have anything spectacular on Easter?
No, well, we had a leftover corned beef from St. Patrick's Day. We were going to cook a couple of them on St. Patrick's Day if we had friends over, but then the magical coronavirus kind of kept everyone from coming to our house and enjoying everything, so we just made it this weekend.
Nice. So I probably have the youngest kids in the group. I guess I got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. So we did do like kind of more of a normal Easter. We obviously didn't leave, but it was kind of weird because my daughter very much got into Easter almost like it was Christmas. Like she wrote the Easter Bunny a note. She had like requests for things from the Easter Bunny, and I was like, normally I'd probably like be like, hey, the Easter, but
That's not
but
really
this
his
year I was
jam.
kinda like, this year I was like, you know what? If it's keeping her happy and occupied, we just found out last week school's not starting back in Missouri, so my daughter's in kindergarten. She was really upset about that, so we thought, we'll turn Easter into more of a multi-day thing. So like Friday, the dye and the egg. Saturday, my wife and the kids made like cookie cakes, and then Sunday was the baskets and the hunts and all that stuff. And actually, something else that was kind of interesting, like both sets of grandparents came by, and we've got a deck that doesn't have stairs to it, and so like they just like stand at the lower part of the deck, and we stand on the top, and we just have like a conversation for half an hour, and then they left. So that was kind of nice. Everybody just kind of moved along too. So hopefully my in-laws aren't watching. No, I'm just kidding. They're great. They're great. I'm just joking. But anyway, so that was our Easter. It was actually relatively normal. So no, nothing different there. But
I did forget to add in that I wrote the Easter Bunny too, but it didn't get me anywhere either.
yeah,
I believe you. I really do.
Yeah, I did.
do.
I was looking for keto chocolate. He didn't have any.
So we were talking before we got into
Tracy.
the whole Easter thing. We started talking about a little bit about Vegas and and kind of what that's going to look like this year or not look like this year come next week for us. But I thought we talked a little bit the first time we did this about like what each of us does at APA, but we never really talk about what we do in Vegas. And a lot of times what we do in Vegas is drastically different than our jobs in wherever we're at based. So I thought maybe you guys just go through and talk a little bit about what your role is when it comes to our events out there. We'll start with Mr. Mouthbiter, Jake the Snake. He's got a big job out there.
Thanks. So Are we talking about the League Operators Convention, or are we talking
No,
about the
no,
actual
no.
Pool
Come
Player
on, man.
Championship and the
No,
World
yeah,
Pool
when you
Championship?
actually have to work. I want to talk about when you got to work.
Okay, so out during the April/May event, Pool Player Championship and the World Pool Championship, I'm one of your tournament directors in the main event room. I work nights, and I love working nights because it's actually quiet. You would think that nighttime would be hustle and bustle and everything, but it is Vegas, so everything is switched. So, but that's not to say that there are not a bunch of rowdy people out there too. So,
Dude,
but
His hand.
what?
You're so random.
So we want to bring up the little hand, huh?
Is it inappropriate to ask? Am I not being politically correct by just talking about the elephant in the
we can
room?
talk about it. If you guys want to talk about it, we can talk about the little hand.
Oh, I want to talk about it, Jake.
Okay.
I'm not
Well,
sure
what
what
do you
about
think
it I
about
want
it?
to talk about, but
hey, is that how you had to learn to tell time? The big hand and the little hand? What's up with that?
Little hand, big hand. Little hand, big hand.
it's my strong hand.
I think
For
you
those of you who get that
misinterpreted that
reference.
lesson back in school.
It is.
You
What
say
is
it really
going
quick,
on?
it sounds worse.
Okay, somebody in chat caught it too. I just looked over and
Tony, one of the
Viewership just
two
jumped
Tonys-
50%.
just because of your
Viewership-
creepy little hand.
Well, I had to bring something to the table.
What was that hand? They said. What was that hand? The best you were holding your straw with it.
I know that was
Yeah.
good. That was good. Subtle delivery.
I caught it with the hand motion. The little.
Well, I had to ramp it up a little bit because, like, I've been doing this for a while and scratching, and everything.
That's a good one, Jake.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Appreciate your ingenuity.
Oh,
So he also serves as a comedian in Vegas when he's not working.
Jake
I try to
is always
bring something
coming
every
really-
Catch him every night of the or every day of the week at the Westgate, Las Vegas, center stage at the what do we call it? The International Bar.
Yes.
Jake will be your entertainment there. Murdoch, what do you do out in Vegas? You're over in the mini room, right?
I during the tournament, I'm in the men's room.
Did you just say men's room?
No.
Well, he's in there too, but
Mini-
not.
mini-
not
I mean,
the
he does
entire
use the
time.
men's
Men's
room.
room. Oh.
He ends up in the
Men's
men's
room.
room.
Occasionally, I do have to go to the men's room, but when I'm not in there during the day, I'm in the mini mania room. Usually slaughtering people's first and last names.
Yep,
as I'm
on the
calling them
microphone.
to come up. Yes, I'm great at that. That's actually my specialty. So, but I help run in the minis room before and after the tournament. I'm helping set up the tournament itself. Most of it, the computer equipment and stuff. But yeah, I'm running the day shift minis. Is what I do out there.
Hey Peggy, I know you're
Yeah.
witness protected, but tell us
Yeah.
what you do out in Vegas.
Yeah.
I work the Showdown Series room at the night shift. So in
So showdown series is like masters, ladies, doubles.
in April, the doubles is in the main tournament room with the singles players. So I'm behind the curtain. And then in August, we have our own room. So we run I run the shift at night for ladies, masters, Jack and Jill, and team captains.
Yeah, it's interesting. You guys are hearing people say night shift. So we actually, because the tournament runs like almost 20 hours a day, I guess, on the mini side.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only reason they close it is to clean the room. So you got 20 hours. So there's two shifts of people generally on the tournament side of the operation, right? That you got a day shift and a night shift. So a lot of these folks are, well, at least Jake and Peggy are night. Murdoch, you're day shift, right?
Mhm.
Day shift or night shift?
I am day shift.
Day shift. So there you go.
One of my other big jobs is Curtis Cardwell, a big fan of ours. He is constantly being put on the clock, so that's actually a large part of my day, and he wanted me to point that out. Because I could be standing right there, and I could call him and put him on the 15-minute clock. So
15-minute
put that out and shout out at him.
Hey Murdoch, so do you do anything with so one of the fascinating things for me with minis is when I go in there and there's like a big group of people and like somebody will come on the microphone and be like, I got a 4 open in the 4A, and somebody's like, it's in. It's like sold, and it's almost like the stock market floor. Like it's a pretty wild scene. Do you do that? What's that about?
We do. So basically, if someone can't make an event or that they've already bought into, the event is sold out. It's an hour before the event, and they just realize that they're playing in the main room, which is more important to them. It's their decision. But they want to sell that spot, so they bring it up to us. They bring up their receipt, and we call it out on the microphone, and we try to catch the first person we either see raise their hand or yell sold. Typically, we tell people yell sold because we can hear them from the back of the room. They're loud enough. We'll tell them to come up, and then all we have to do is we swap it in the system. They exchange money, and everyone is set. The person that originally had the ticket can go on and go over to the main room or whatever he had plans for, and the new guy that bought it is now in the system to play in that tournament.
Interesting.
It gets kind of crazy though sometimes.
Yeah.
My first couple of years, I did not work in the minis. I was actually in the main room. But I did go over and look at the minis, and it looked like utter chaos from the beginning to end. And when I started working in the minis, I realized or learned very quickly that it is chaotic. It is a very controlled chaos that's going on behind the scenes and behind that desk. Tournament department, years and years of work getting the minis done. Whoever came up with the minis, brilliant idea. But
that was me.
Years and years.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Years and years of doing this from our tournament department and everyone else that has worked in the minis in the past has really gotten it to a fine art. And I've learned that art, and it may look like chaos from the outside, but it runs very smooth from the other side of it. And 99.9% of the time, if there's an issue, we will get it handled before time gives up.
Interesting. Yeah, that mini mania is kind of a crazy but controlled crazy. I like the way you put it. That was poetic, Murdoch. That was beautiful.
Yeah, way to go, buddy.
I'm moved. I mean, seriously, beautiful.
Once a year, I have one of those moments, and I just wasted it.
Yeah. Tracy, tell them you got an interesting job. Why don't you tell everybody about what you do out there? They're going to want to know you, I think.
Oh, thanks, Jace. I just work behind the curtain. That's all I do. No, I'm part of a team that reviews skill levels every single round. So why are you pointing at Mark?
See,
on my screen, Mark is.
Oh, you're over here. You're over here from me.
And the funny thing is, it's my screen that matters, and Mark is above me.
Yeah.
Mark is above me, and Tracy, you are to his that way. So
Wow.
Mark is there, and you're right there, and then Jake is actually over here. So
It's
it
like the
goes.
Brady Bunch.
It goes Jason, Becky, Tracy, Mark, Peggy, Murdoch, Jake, and myself.
I'm not going to remember this.
I don't expect you to.
Tracy, tell them what you do. Tell them about NHRC. Or it's HRC, sorry, HRC.
Yeah, we are no longer national. We are world, but we decided not to change it to world HRC. So when you turn your score sheets in Vegas, they go through a whole process behind the scenes, back behind the curtain, and they eventually end up with the team that I work with. And we have several people. The team's a little smaller at the Pool Player Championship. Why are you laughing, Mark?
I think
I was
they have their own
texting
little side
Peggy.
joke going.
Oh,
Yeah.
mute yourself. How rude.
Very interesting. Keep going.
Thank you.
Jake now has two little hands, just so
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we review skill levels, and we have a team of observers that give us feedback when we need it. We work with Jake and the other tournament directors. That's right, Jake. I wish I had tiny hands now. Like, I feel left out. Seriously. No, I don't.
Jake does not recommend it, apparently.
So that's my job. That's part of my job, yeah.
So real quick, we had a question about that. Are you the only one reviewing skill levels, and isn't that time consuming? I did answer for you already, but I want to hear your take.
Somebody
No,
served that up on a platter. Who was that? Brian Franklin?
is-
No,
Brian
it's,
Franklin?
I apologize
It's
if I
fine.
don't pronounce this correctly, but it's Suke Cardenas?
Okay, somebody.
Oh,
somebody
yeah,
was
yeah, I know
genuinely
him.
happy. That's good.
It's a good question. It's a
Um,
legit question.
Suki, I am part of a team. At the Pool Player Championship, we have a smaller team, obviously, that reviews skill levels for that event because it's individuals, not an entire team. In August, there are 1, 2, 3, 6. I think there's 6 of us. If I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sorry. That work and why are you laughing?
His
Steve?
hands! He's doing the hand thing!
I am talking about serious things now.
I'm muting myself.
Yeah, very serious. Stop it.
Wait till Lancaster talks, Jake. Come
yeah,
on.
yeah, that's yeah, really. Stop the shenanigans.
Anyway, it is time consuming. However, we all kind of know our roles in the whole process, so we try to be as efficient as possible. The only thing that generally puts things a little behind is when we have teams that have issues, and we don't take disqualifying players or teams lightly, and so that can take a little longer. But outside of that, it's pretty much a smooth process that we
You guys are
have.
pretty much in there, like, all the time.
Yeah, they got like.
I never
cots in
see you
there.
guys.
Don't you guys like lay down in there sometimes?
Like, you have
have.
beds in there. Like, that's how long, like, legit, UK. Like, they have
Yeah.
beds to take
In
naps in there.
August, we have when we have 11 o'clock rounds. Those days, we actually break into 2 teams and shift out. But once we get into those turn and burn rounds, where this
Back
round
to back
affects
to
the
back.
next round, we're all there, and we nap in there on the cots.
Legit. One day we got to do, like, a BTS back there.
So, yeah.
Well, maybe
Hey,
next week she could tell us about how an actual DQ goes. We'll make people tune in next week, but you
Yeah.
could tell a story about how that whole process goes because I know
Yeah.
that's
never
an
fun.
interesting.
It's
No, I know
never
it's not fun, but sometimes it
But it'd
happens,
be
right? And
interesting
you
for
actually
people
have to
to
deal with it.
hear that, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hey,
Is that-
Steve, she said that you did pronounce it right, so you probably should have let me do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I'm
fair.
gonna do it in
That's
Denise.
fair.
And I would
Good callback. Well done.
apologized as Steve did,
You would-
but good job.
You would
Steve.
have insulted 2 people.
I'm going to answer a quick question that Becky Pinson just said. How come medical handicap adjustments don't transfer to HLTs? We're not going to get into all of those kind of Q&As right now. But if you reach out to the office or send in something through poolplayers.com, we're happy to respond to that.
Yeah, send it as a Facebook message. We'll get an answer
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. We got lots of communication vehicles, so that's an interesting
We are
question.
happy to answer those kinds of questions.
It is.
Mark, what about you, man? Tracy mentioned the HRC. Sorry, I know you're kind of
Habit
you're a
of a
green
lifetime.
shirt. Aren't you a green shirt?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
green shirt. I started as a league operator, which was 15, 16.
I started as a white shirt, but
Yeah, it started as a white shirt, exactly. And then, but the job is morphed since I've become a corporate person. So it started out as an observer and I stayed that way. And now that I'm part of the national team, my other job is to leave people alone, because every time I go somewhere, Tracy comes around the corner and says, "Hey, leave them alone." So I go around talking to people until she pops up at the weirdest places. I'll be talking to somebody on the other side of the Westgate, and all of a sudden she'll pop her head around the corner and says, "Leave them alone." So that's kind of second job that I like to do. And then because I was a league operator for so long, I've got a bunch of the league operators that I hang around with. So the time to Vegas is I make fun of them for 11 months a year, and I get to do that more, like Brad and Pascal and Ken and stuff like that. So not going this year, it's gonna, I
You're
do
gonna
it
be
through
pent
text
up,
messages and stuff. So yeah, I really got to try and insult them more and more as I go along. So other than that, I'm the leave them alone kind of guy.
So I just want to sum that all up. You are still a green shirt observer. You still do observing.
Yeah. Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm still an observer. I'm.
I'm serious. Like, I will be in the middle of my work and this happens. It's not funny.
Someone help me.
Let let me shift the.
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
like that. That's a nice.
It's an
Good job,
improvement
Bill.
table. It's good for the back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It really is.
Oh,
He does
Lord.
have some very juicy calves.
No, but Jake said you have juicy calves.
I do have juicy
He wants to run his tiny hands on them.
See Jake's tiny hands.
So, Jason, what do you do out there? Here's a segue for you.
Oh, that's the segue for me.
What do you do out there? We can
Well,
all
I mean,
admire
I
Bill's
do.
ways.
Yeah, Steve and I do a lot of the same stuff, right? So we do all the marketing stuff. We've got a marketing team, about 7 of us. 7 of us now. We were about 5 the Las Vegas event we did, but of course we do all the live streaming of the championship rounds. That usually is probably our primary focus. But then we've got all the fan favorites that come in and do shows like Florian or Jeanette, Dr. Q. We manage all them. We do all the merchandising.
Yep.
And the stuff that goes with that, all the social media. So, any results, and poolplayers.com. So any results from anything that you're seeing online or seeing on Facebook, that's our marketing team. And Becky, who's probably tuning in right now because she
Hi,
manages all of our
Becky.
social, will say,
Hi, Bex.
Becky. Becky's about 2 months away from having a baby girl. So,
Baby.
speaking of which, too, this is totally unrelated, but I saw Skylar Woodward had
Yeah.
his son this morning.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Sky. He is, of course, your 2-time Moscone back-to-back Moscone MVP. So a little hand clap by Jake there for Sky and baby Daxton. There you go. What about you, Bex? What do you do out in Vegas?
I work the day shift in the main tournament room. I do the table assignments, and a huge shout out to CompuSport because they make my life a breeze. So good time.
Yep, just one of the many partners that we work with that we won't be seeing here in the next few weeks. That's the other hard part about kind of what we do. We got so many partners with different, whether it's the guys from Pool Dog or you got CompuSport, you got the folks from Rickstein, a lot of the vendors that we get to know.
Friends all over
It's
the
like
place.
it's a family kind of affair for us, and so I know you guys are missing it, and we're missing it too. So we're right there with you. I hope that comes across as we talk about Vegas a little bit here. Steve, you tell. I mean, I kind of mentioned what we do, but I'm sure you always have something to add about what you do. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, my job is super interesting. I mean, I kind of do the same thing I'm doing now. I'm in charge of all the geeky media stuff. I run around with cameras and make cool stuff. And my job changes within that, but that's the long and short. Whether I'm taking photos and making you guys look awesome, or I'm running the streams so we can get your match. I tell you what.
The hell? What was that?
I'm
Bigfoot?
not sure. It scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
Ella, Jason, and Toby.
Wow.
So, I tell you
Sounds like a horse.
a quick story about streaming that kind of sums up what I do. Back in 2015, that's when we had streamed the first time, and we kind of did it like a test. Hi, Bill. I lost my train of thought. Shocker.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're doing the interview with
He's
this.
not watching this, Steve. So
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's got a phone in his hand.
No, he's
Yeah.
playing that. He's playing a game on his phone while he's upside
Okay,
down.
well, what game is he playing?
What game are you playing?
8-ball pool.
Of course he is. Of
Hey,
course
Paul,
he
cool.
is. Of course he is. So
All right,
anyway,
sorry.
I asked this gentleman. He was the I think it was an 8-ball match, but it may have been an 9-ball match. But he's the guy that under pressure put the game away. And Jason, you might remember this. It was a gentleman with glasses. He had a hat. It was 2015.
I remember the soundbite. It's in the video.
Yeah, the
It's in
soundbite. I
video.
loved it so much, and it was the first time we streamed. I asked everybody the same question. I was like, well, what does streaming what did it mean to you? And I'll never forget what he said. He said, I got to win in front of my boy today. My boy got to see me win this thing, and
Cool.
that's what I do.
There you go.
That's what I do.
That's true. I like that story. That's a good.
I love
Who
that
else?
story. Keeps me going.
We need some other Vegas. We need some other Vegas story. Anybody else got a good Vegas story?
Mine are not appropriate for.
They got to be like, they can't. Yeah, you either have to not name names but it's got to be semi-appropriate, or it's got to be what is it, deprecating.
Self-deprecating, yeah.
Yeah, that's the term.
Yeah.
You can tell a story like that, but just don't, out
My
anybody
best,
else.
my best one would probably be when I won $14 million.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't win nothing.
Exactly.
I actually won
These
less
stories
than
have to be
nothing.
true. I guess that's another
okay.
qualification.
I didn't win $14 million then.
Mark, did somebody
probably
tell me
lost
like you
14
used to?
million.
Did somebody tell me at some point, like in your life, you tried to be a comedian? Did I
Yeah,
hear
it
that
was
story?
I actually did some stand-up comedy in Canada when I lived in Windsor
Okay,
for a couple of years, and then when I moved to Toronto, I did a little bit of it too.
I'm glad you
Acting.
found. I'm glad you found APA. I'm really happy
Exactly.
about
So
that. Yeah.
let's just say it wasn't my only job.
So, do you actually have a Vegas story for us?
Do I have a Vegas story? No, probably not. So I
Murdoch,
can
give
make
me a
fun of
Vegas
You
people.
want
story.
us to
I can
circle
do
back?
that.
All right.
Yeah, I can do a brouhaha.
Not
That work?
naming names,
Yeah.
but we.
Thanks,
we-
Murdoch.
What? Did you want to finish your story? Do you?
No,
have
no,
a
no. Go ahead.
We have a staff member that used to go around and do interviews. That may have just given it away.
Yeah.
I was off shift, but coming back down to the tournament room, and she was talking to someone. And I walk up to her just to say hi real quick because didn't get to see her too often while we're out there. And all I heard her say is, "Oh, I'm sorry that I'm married." And at the time, she wasn't. And then she sees me out of the corner of her eye, and she says that, "Oh, and here he is."
Oh.
And I have to put this together really quick in my head. That
Oh.
apparently I quickly.
Who the hell is he talking about?
You
Yeah.
Apparently, he was playing the chivalrous knight role.
He used to do interviews
Yeah.
for us.
So this person who used to do interviews.
who has blonde hair, who always
And
does
works
all
for you.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said used to do interviews. He said used to do interviews. I'm like,
because
used to? Everybody might think
Click.
he's been there a
she
decade.
might be with child and not coming to the next event. Maybe that's
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know she still did interviews. Anyway, she was talking to someone, and I gathered right before I walked up that he had asked her out. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm married." And then she sees me out of the corner of her eye and says, "And speak, here he is." And I had to put it together real quick that she was, trying to tell this guy that she wasn't interested
hike, yep.
in a very kind way. And so I quickly had to play along. So I came up and I said, "Hi, honey, are you about ready to go get dinner?" And then walked her back to her elevator. And the guy was, I guess he went back into the tournament room. But yeah, she, in a polite way, was telling this guy, "No, I'm not interested." But
Nice job. You think on your feet real well.
Well done.
I feel like that. I feel like that's like a mini like '80s movie right there. Like I don't know, like not the story I was expecting. Yeah,
it's like a 16 candles are pretty in pink.
it seems like way too clean of a Vegas story to me. It just seems
Yeah.
too clean.
It is cool.
Too clean, bro.
That the guy was drunk and and was very persistent with asking her out, and she finally had to say, "I'm married," and here he is, and I had to play along.
Yeah, it's hard to tell Vegas stories without like.
Incriminating yourself.
Yeah.
Certainly,
Again,
there's some.
Not naming names, and this is not the same person, but we've actually had someone that was supposed to be on a flight, an early morning flight, like 6 a.m. And the people that were on this particular flight, they gotten the taxi and stuff. I was on a little bit later flight that day. They called me, maybe like 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. They called me and they were like, "Have you seen this person?" And I'm like, "No, I'm in bed asleep." They were like, "Well, they're on our flight and they didn't meet us at the taxi stand to get a taxi. We don't know where they are." So I was like, "All right."
I'm going to be honest. That happens a lot. And I will also be honest and put it out there that I might have missed a flight home from Vegas.
This story
That was
actually
not
has a
me.
twist.
That was not me, but I may have done that in my early career with APA. I learned my lesson not to drink Colorado Bulldogs the night prior with Mary Renee at the Splash Bar.
I once missed a flight at the airport sitting at the bar.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Literally, I once missed a flight sitting at the bar at the airport.
This story actually has a little bit of a twist. So they asked me to see if I could go find this person that may be missing their flight because they were not with them at the taxi stand. So I said, well, what's their room number? So they gave me what they thought was this person's room number. So I went to that room number, knocked on the door. No one came to the door. I banged on the door. Finally, someone came to the door. It wasn't this person. I don't know who it was, but apparently I woke them up at 4:30 to tell them that, I'm sorry, I had the wrong room.
Get those tiny hands out, Jake.
I think this person did catch their flight. Yes, they sent me to the wrong room. I don't think it was intentional. It could have been, but I don't think it was. They gave me the wrong room number, and I'm banging on some guy's door, waking him up, expecting to tell them that they're going to miss their flight, and instead I'm like, oh, wrong room.
Funny. Not so funny for that person, but kind of funny the story to hear now. So I got one. So I don't. Some of you guys, most of you haven't been around this long. Some of our viewers might remember. Tracy might remember years ago. All right, and you had to. Let me set the stage. You got to go back to before we all had like smartphones. I think we had cell phones then, but they didn't do texting. Like these are very early cell phones.
We did, but you had to like 1, 2, 3.
No,
1, 2.
I don't think we really
3,
texted. This is like 2000, 2001. I don't think we really texted. Like anyway.
I had a cell phone that texted then, but what else?
Well, look at you. Anyway,
yeah, me too.
So we used to have this thing around that time at APA at our events in Vegas. It was called I don't remember what we called it. Basically, you could send an online message to somebody in the tournament, and it would print out in our marketing office. And like a few times a day, we'd go down and pin these all up on this big cork board so people could come by and read messages from like their family, like good luck in the tournament and I miss you and daddy says good luck and like all these positive messages. And it was really cool, right? Like the printer would churn out just churn. So, but one year we start getting these, and so, but we have to review these messages, right? Because most are very positive. Some are like, F you, and like, just like people are very creative, like Jake and the Small Hands.
Very creative.
And,
that's your new band name, man.
They take it to a little bit different level. So we have to look through the messages and make sure they're appropriate. Well, so apparently what happened was one guy on a team had gone out to Vegas with his teammates and his wife was at home. But apparently one of his teammates was a female that he was also, at least from her perspective, was involved with. I don't know if that was the case, but she had this like feeling. And so she was communicating about this feeling on the online message board through these messages we were getting. And she was sending like dozens of messages. Like, where are you and why aren't you responding? I don't know that she fully understood how the message board worked. But, obviously we didn't post
Did you put them up there?
No.
Were you guys emotionally invested in how the story ended?
This played out over several days. This wasn't like a 2-hour thing. This was like a several day, like multiple times a day. I remember the name of the woman that this guy was supposedly with. I'm not going to say it here, but it was, and so, there's like a half dozen of us in our marketing office. We're in there all day long. Like sometimes we're beating our heads against the wall. And so we're kind of entertained by this.
It's like a reality show.
But it was like this reality show playing out on these little messages from this lady. And so eventually, because we could not post them, we finally figure, you know what? We should probably like call this guy and just tell him we got some messages that you might want to come pick up from us when you get a chance. So from your wife. And he never did come get the messages. I'm assuming because
did you save the day?
I'm assuming because we mentioned they were from his wife. He figured it out. Well, she had been trying to, I think, contact him too through like the room phone, and apparently he wasn't answering that. So her way of contacting him was through this online message board, generally meant to say, "Hey, good luck, to this team and that team."
I know you were sleeping with her.
Yeah, so this was before. Like, do you guys remember when Facebook first came out? And like people would put they would air some dirty laundry on there, and I'd be like, "Oh hell yeah!" That was when Facebook was really great. Like today, you gotta watch.
They don't do that anymore.
Today, you gotta watch stuff like us, right? It used to be like some chick you went to high school with that had like. Well, I won't even go. I don't want to offend anybody, so I won't even go there. But there was some entertaining stories. So it was kind of like that before Facebook. So that's. I got a lot of Vegas stories, but that's the one that I feel like I can tell without either my wife getting upset or me just getting fired. So
I
I think
Or
the
getting one of
funniest
us fired.
one,
Yeah.
one of the funniest ones is one Jason told. It actually happened to him. I don't know if he remembers it, but somebody came up to him. This was back when we were at the Riviera. Someone came up to him asking him where the restrooms were, as Jason was standing directly below the sign
I don't
for the
remember that.
restrooms.
I don't remember that. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, people in Vegas, like they can't focus a lot of times, right? There's so much sound and the carpet and the people, and it's hard to figure out where you're at. So you
And they're drunk.
combine that with alcohol, yeah.
Waiting for
Oh, yeah.
to hear, like,
I've
how
missed
did
my exit
Jason
a couple of
respond
times.
to the person?
Yeah, I
then?
know. Is there a punchline?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Like,
it,
did he
so
do
I don't
two
know.
backflips, karate kick the guy in the
I'm,
head?
I'm
and answer
guessing
the
that
question,
I'm
or
guessing
what?
I might have just like
Wait.
looked at the guy and not even said a word and walked away. But I don't know. That's how I feel like I would have reacted.
Or pointed down the hallways
Chat,
down there.
finish that story for us.
I don't. That's the only part I remember. I don't remember how Jason.
Wow.
Jason, like Jason said, he's got hundreds
Oh,
of Vegas
God.
stories. 'cause
I
he's
guess
been there
Murdoch
for a
was drunk,
while,
too.
But, this is just one small story in a sea of stories that I'm sure he has that I
Oh,
just
yeah.
haven't remember.
The funny thing is, I don't remember that one, so I wish I could.
feel like you're like performing, doing like performing arts with your tiny hands.
I think he's doing sign
When
language.
I look,
right
I
now.
happen to like it catches my eye, and like you're doing this and this and this.
Hey, Tracy,
Visual
when you see
representation.
when you
Yeah.
see Bill, tell him we appreciate the fact that he was wearing longer shorts tonight and not the short.
Yeah.
ones. That would have been that could have got
Thanks,
real
buddy.
uncomfortable at the as this went on. Like I didn't want to say it then, but I was appreciative that he had longer shorts. So you got to have a Vegas story, right, Trace?
Me?
No,
Me?
you don't have a
I
Vegas
told you-
story.
Mine aren't probably not really appropriate.
Oh man. Here, I tell you what, I'll tell one that is like semi like, but it's on me, so I can tell it, right? So like,
Does it involve me? Wait.
it does not involve you.
Okay.
It involves me, and
Carry on.
this is back in my. I'd probably been with the company a few years. I was in my mid 20s probably, and so I used to have a group of friends that would come out like at each event, and like the tail end of the event, they'd be out there. Chris, or you remember my buddy Chris Tracy? Sure, you
Yeah.
remember Chris. So when they would come out, like we're towards the end of the event, so like the day they would get there, they'd want to go out all night, and we would go out all night. Usually after in a lot of times we had a pool party on a Thursday, and so we go out that whole night. Well, anyway, sometimes in Vegas we get these news crews that will come out and like want to do stories, the Fox or NBC or somebody local. Well, a lot of times they want to come out like first thing in the morning, and these people wanted to be there for like a 5:30 spot in the morning. Like they want to do a live thing. They wanted Allison. We worked with Allison Fisher back then. They wanted her. They wanted Renee Lyle, who was the president at the time. So they want to like do these interviews at 5:30 in the morning in the Mini Mania room. And so, whatever, we get it all scheduled. And so my buddies come into town and we go out and we're partying. And then we go to a gentleman's club, right? Which is not that uncommon in Vegas, right? We were in our 20s, and I know that's the saucy part of it, right? And so we're there, but this is at a time when so again, we had cell phones, but we didn't have smartphones. So you didn't constantly have your phone in your hand looking at Facebook. Unless your phone rang, it was probably in your pocket. Well, at some point in that evening, I remembered this interview that was supposed to happen at 5:30 in the morning with all these people, one of which was my boss, the president of the company, the other which is Allison Fisher, who's a person, I don't know if you ever met Allison, but she's not really a person you want to piss off too much. And I had talked them into showing up this early in the morning. So I immediately have to, so it's I don't know, maybe 5 at that point, and I got to be back at this thing at 5:30. So I have to leave whatever gentleman's club we were at, get back to the Riviera, try to get cleaned up. I don't have enough time to shower. So all I can do is wash my face and put deodorant on and change clothes. And I go off and I'm doing this TV thing, and I'm trying to interact with Allison, who's asking me all these questions. And Renee's, she's generally not a morning person. So she's kind of already eyeballing me, I feel like everybody, I feel like everybody knows, right? They know I've been out, they know where I was, I'm in big trouble. And actually nobody ever said a word about it, but I think I've told Renee that story, and she's since retired. So I feel liberated to tell it now, but that stuff happens in Vegas. I mean, there's times where, put it this way, if we're going to party like that, we get out of the host hotel, right? We don't do it where people are going to see us. So that was just one of my many Vegas nights, but that's all behind me now. That's all behind me.
One of our league operators actually said we should tell stories about the crazy stuff we do in HRC. And I'm
weird in there, man.
Well, you have to understand when you are in a small room with no windows for like 18 hours a day.
Yeah, there's no
It is
window.
bad. It's
Wasn't there a homeless man in there one time?
that was during setup. There was a homeless man.
Isn't that crazy though? That's how remote that little room is. No
Yeah.
windows. It's like a
Yeah.
cave.
But you get your mind goes a little cuckoo and you start doing weird stuff. Like, okay, so one of our team members, in poor judgment, shared some photos of himself from the 70s. I believe they were from the late 70s. So I proceeded to make probably 80,000 photocopies of those pictures and created a mural on the wall and hid in pictures of one of our teammates from Canada, like where's whatever the person's name is. I don't want to throw them out there because
Waldo.
not many people. Yeah, it's kind of like where's Waldo. So we do things like that in there, but that, I mean, it's not as exciting as not showing up for an interview.
You got first of all, I showed up for the
Okay,
interview.
showing up
Hey,
for an
he was
interview,
there.
not
The
showered.
condition I was in, first of all,
Drunk.
and I held it together. But I mean,
You
you know, if I had been drinking all night, I had to have been.
Yeah.
I'm sure I wouldn't have passed any breathalyzers. You know, I mean,
It's
come on.
funny. When I first started
Drunk.
working for the company, one of the first things that Jason said to me when we first started working together, and I'll never forget this, and I live my life by a code out there, and it came
I
from
tell
him.
them all this. I tell
He
them all.
tells them all this, and it's the same. I don't care what you do, show up to work. Get your stuff done. I don't care what you do. Just get it
I
done.
don't care how drunk you get, as long as you show up
Just
for work
show
when you're
up.
supposed to, and you get your job done. Which brings that. Do you remember we had a webmaster? Remember Sean? I won't say his
Yeah.
last name, but he was a younger guy that came to work for us, and I had the same conversation with Sean, and he was a little bit of a wild dude, and he had never been to Vegas before. He was probably like 21, 22, and he had gone out, I guess, and won a bunch of money gambling, and came back. We found him the next morning, passed out in our office
He was
that
there.
we used. Because he stayed out, and so he didn't want to be late to work. He just went and passed out in the office with and we found him with like all these chips laying on him. He was just passed out, like in all his clothes. And I miss Sean. He was a fun guy, but he didn't. I don't know. I do remember only because Steve told that story about making sure you show up for your shift. That's a cardinal rule,
That's
not
a
just in
rule.
the marketing department, but across the company. Like if
You want to hang, you gotta hang.
a lot of our staff have been at APA for a long time, but one of the ways you find yourself out of APA is not showing up
hanging.
for work in Vegas. That is not looked upon kindly by any of us.
All boozed out isn't good either.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, let's be honest though, we've
It's
all been there.
Vegas.
So let's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
pretend,
I
except
get
for
way
maybe
too
Mark.
drunk all the time.
except for maybe Mark.
I had a similar night. I had to teach a class, and I literally couldn't stand for the class. I had to sit the whole time, and I was sitting like this the whole time. I was hurting so bad, but I taught that damn class. It was great.
He was in the fetal position on the table.
It was bad. I teach a lot with Becky, and poor Becky, she was like, "Dude, you gonna make it?" I'm like, "I ain't got a choice. We're gonna do it."
I remember the trip, and I don't want to give away too many details, but so a couple of our staff, I thought they were like they had been out. So a lot of the staff, like the first few nights we get out there, a lot of us will go like congregate at a certain place
before the hard work starts.
restaurant and do it up. And so a bunch of some of our marketing staff and a number of other people with the company all went to the same place to eat.
Oh,
And,
I know where you're going.
And so the
Yeah,
next,
yeah,
the
yeah.
next
Not again,
day,
no.
like the members of my team were like they weren't feeling good, like, and they were dragging, and I was kind of like, yeah, you guys got too jacked up last night or whatever.
and in all
and
fairness,
they
I
were
agree
like,
with
yeah,
him. I
maybe,
wasn't
yeah.
sure.
And but then like the next day they weren't feeling good, and then like nobody else was feeling good. Suddenly there was like a dozen people that weren't
Yeah.
feeling good, and so we quickly realized that. And I
It's an
shouldn't
issue.
laugh. I mean, we can laugh now, but at the time it was
As
real
a
freaky.
victim, it's funny now.
Okay, so you brought it up.
I give
wasn't
you
going to name
permission.
names.
I didn't bring it up. You did.
A couple of them are in this group,
Yeah.
and they may be raising their hands. So they were part of the group of I think 13
Quite a
staff
few of us.
that ended up with serious food poisoning from salmonella, and had ended up in different hospitals all over Las Vegas. it was a cluster. I mean, not only for them because they're sick, then you got to try to figure out how you fill their shift, right?
So
Because they all have important
I'm going to
jobs.
give a shout out to several of our league operators who,
Stepped up.
without hesitation, when we were calling them and saying, we need somebody to process score sheets, we need somebody to input matches.
Lost
Down
20%
there
of your staff in a day.
Other staff working double shifts to make up for it. I mean, I think in those situations, it was an unfortunate situation, and I do feel bad for those of you who went through it. And I'm very upset because I really like that restaurant.
We used
but
to
we're
go
not
there.
gonna-
What was that place
We
called?
can't. I don't know how to say that on the TV thing.
It was okay. So I will say it's a tapas place located on in between the airport and the Westgate. They moved locations a
It
couple years
is
ago.
likely cleaner than anywhere you've eaten in Vegas at this
It
point.
probably
but-
is.
Maybe so, but I've never
would
been
go
back
there
after
again.
that.
So the
I've
bad
never
thing
gone
about that is that being who like, and I'm not saying this because I'm cooler, just because my particular skill set and Becky was in the same boat. Like we couldn't, there was no one else to do my job. You know what I mean? There's no one else really to do her job. You know, so we were actually switching, like taking naps in the marketing room. We could only work like an hour or two at a time before we would just, and then we would get back. It was bad. It was rough. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through in my life.
Yeah, I mean, getting sick in Vegas is a real thing. I've been there too. Like not hungover sick. I'm talking like you get a
It was
cold or a
sick,
flu or
sick.
something bad, and it's not a good place to be when you're sick because there's nothing's convenient as far as getting food and
My
getting
wife
medicine.
isn't there to
and-
tuck me in and give me chicken noodle soup. It just
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, you're kind of on an island. You start to feel like you're on an island there. So I get that. So that we survived though. I mean, there's a lot of stories out there like that
We
too
got
that
it
we
done.
could tell. I won't get into all of them, but that's one that came to mind. The food poisoning, and I think that was like 2013,
Something like that.
if I'm correct. And I've not been back to that place since.
Yeah.
Now we
I
do
can't
have
even think
these
of the name of it.
questions, Jason.
What we got? We got
and
some
it is
questions?
7:05 already. This goes quicker.
So we've already gone late, but we'll take some questions if
All
we
right.
got questions. What's the questions?
Sorry.
These are the trivia questions.
Oh,
Right.
trivia? Are you
No,
talking
I didn't
chat
put
questions or
trivia in here.
questions?
I didn't.
What questions are they?
There are just true false questions that you get.
Oh,
that
we're gonna
Jason
play a
gave
little
me.
more. Yeah. So we got some.
Your thing that you posted and the other thing that's not in here. I think that we're gonna say that for something else.
I tell you what, let's save those for next week because I just realized what time it is. We're already at 7:05.
We are at
and-
7:05.
Yeah, we'll let everybody
I
go.
smell tacos being cooked downstairs.
And I
Yeah,
think
we
we
can let
missed
everybody
Vegas a
go.
bit too much. Like when we stayed there, because I'm with you guys. I missed it. I missed the shit
You
out
can
of it.
tell this week is going to be so hard. Most of us would have been leaving like Thursday, Friday, and we would have been out there for 2 weeks. And that applies to league operators. And I know for our players that are tuning in, the ones that qualified to go out
Oh,
there, I
man.
know it.
I get it.
I know it's got to be heartbreaking. So just know again, we don't have any details for you at this point on when, but the goal. I know that the goal, what we're very much working towards, is trying to make sure all these events get postponed and played at a later date. So if you qualified, you will be able to play. It's just maybe. Well, it's not maybe. If you qualified for the pool player championships, you're going to end up
It's
playing
not
later.
if,
than you
it's
would have.
when.
But we're doing our best to try to get you those answers. And as soon as we do, if you guys follow us on Facebook, you're going to get those answers much as soon as we got them or within a short amount of time. So
I
keep
do
that
have
in
one
mind.
last thing though before we go. I'm
Go.
gonna interrupt. Becky, we need an update.
Fire alarm.
Chirp, chirp, baby.
Still chirping?
Chirp, chirp, baby.
The madness has found its way down the hall, and there's one
It's
in
got a
another
friend now?
room that is now.
Oh no! It's
Chirping.
spreading. It's like the
Spreading.
virus. It's spreading. It's the
awful.
chirping.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
You don't have a ladder?
Jake.
Girl,
I
I'm
don't
dropping
have
a-
drop off
I'm-
I have
ladder
a
if
big
that gets
ladder
out.
and short arms, so the one down the hall I can take care of. This one in the living room, I think it's finally died.
I have a 10-foot
So-
ladder. You want me to just drop it in your front lawn?
I'm like, I'll come over and change it. I don't care.
Yeah, like-
Eventually, it'll like the one that's been chirping. I think it's finally died, so hopefully there's no fire in that room. One down the hall, I got it. It'll be good.
I couldn't handle it. I'd be like stacking
Oh, my
stools. I'd be
gosh.
like a cartoon character on stools trying to.
I'd have
Get
hit
that
it with
thing-
something by now.
And chirping. Oh man, that drives you crazy.
And I guess I don't know. I just don't even hear it. I was on a call with Tracy yesterday, I think, and she's like, "There's the chirp," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't even hear it."
Yeah.
Oh, Jake.
All right,
you've been
sorry.
entertaining tonight.
You're gonna get fire alarm related gifts for the rest of eternity. Do you realize that? Like every opportunity I
think
have to
that's
give you
amazing.
something, it's going to be fire alarm related.
9-volt batteries in bulk, baby.
They still make those?
And ladders.
9-volt. So we're gonna make you some like 9-volt earrings and ladder earrings. It's gonna be great. That's what we're gonna do for you.
Buy me one of those extenders that I can use to like.
Maybe a tiny hand on a pole.
Oh, please. Please.
Yeah, Jake can help you.
I love that guy.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch this just so I can watch all of Jake's hand motions throughout the entire broadcast.
Might make a super cut of just Jake.
Yeah.
Just for like an hour and a half. Just and like doing it like different speeds, ramping up, slowing down.
I don't know, Jake, but you just raised the bar for next week, man. I don't
Jake,
know.
going,
You're
buddy.
gonna. Yeah, you can't go downhill
Full
from here.
screen
You
now.
better.
Oh, I don't know if I.
You better have like a little head. You better have a little head next week or
Tiny
something.
hands.
Shrunken head Jake.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let this run.
Like Beetlejuice.
I'm looking at Facebook over here. He's been maximized.
I have made him full screen. Yeah, or not quite full screen, but
Oh,
This is internet gold right there. I miss the blues too, for sure.
I do want to say there is another Tiny Hands video that's just as funny.
Oh, really?
Sorry, Jake. The
Just
makeup
glad he's got the
tutorial.
thumbs on the
Eric
right
will
side.
know what I'm talking about.
That girl's from Cottleville. She's like right down the road from
It
me.
is hilarious. I feel like I should link it in the comments after we're
I
done.
bet I could put makeup on better than she does.
you know
I
what?
don't
This
know.
next week,
Pretty-
buddy.
She puts on a full face of makeup using those damn hands. Like, it is hilarious.
I could do it. I could
Okay,
do it.
next week,
and I
buddy.
could do it better.
Jake, I got
Next
a better
week.
challenge for you. Why don't you cook everyone some ribs with the little hands? And your makeup is barbecue.
Oh.
I want ribs. I don't want to watch you put on makeup. I want to eat his food.
Barbecue.
That is going to be difficult.
You want a real challenge, right? Just throwing it out there. I'm hungry.
Oh, sorry.
On that note,
Yeah, I think that's a wrap.
We're getting a little weird.
Hey, look, we're a month into this. What do you expect? I think we are like right at a month of this, but hopefully better days lie ahead and sooner than later. But anyway, it's good to see you guys and get
I
together
love
with
you
you guys.
guys. We
And,
love all of you guys out there.
And for you people at home, we're sorry. We're really sorry about all this. But the whole point is to get you guys to do this with your own teammates and friends, so you
Call
don't
your
feel
friends.
isolated. Because we probably do have, hopefully not a lot of weeks left of this, but definitely a few weeks of this. So, take advantage. Start talking to your friends. Have a good time like we're having here. And with that, we will say goodbye until I guess next Tuesday. Bye bye, little
Bye,
hands.
Peggy and Peggy Star.